Welcome back to Real-ationship Goals, a podcast all about exploring the realities and complexities of healthy relationships. Real-ationship Goals is a project of the Prevention and Education team at the Advocacy Center for Crime Victims and Children in Waco, Texas. If you or someone you know has experienced sexual violence or harassment and is seeking support services or needs more information, links to resources and our hotline number can be found in the description. The views expressed in this podcast are those of the hosts and guests and do not necessarily reflect those of their organizations or affiliates.
Hi everyone, welcome back to another episode of Real-ationship Goals. We are your hosts. My name is Monica. I use they, she pronouns.
My name is Ariana. I use she, her pronouns.
My name is Meryl. I use she, her pronouns.
And my name is Kyah, and I use she, her pronouns.
Yes, and today we have a special topics episode, and we're actually going to be covering some graphics that were posted by Sesame Street on Instagram. And of course, we'll put the link down to the graphics in, is it the caption box? Not caption,
the description
box. It'll be down there. That way y'all can also see what we're talking about. But what they did, and I'm trying to think, they posted this late January of 2026. They wanted to have kind of a guide for adults on talking with kids about violence that's happening in either the news or in their communities. And they kind of broke it up by age with also advice. And so that's what we're going to talk about today. The way that we're going to do it is graphic by graphic. There's 4 of them. And reading it off, mentioning the ages, and then just talking about it. There's not a lot to talk about mine. Mine is the very first one. It says offering comfort in scary times. After a violent event, children of different ages will have different needs. These age-based strategies can help them feel safer and more secure. And then it's a picture of Big Bird. Mm-hmm. But that's the very first one, just kind of an intro. And I believe Ariana has the next one.
Yes, I do. Mine focuses on ages 0 through 3. And it says, as much as possible, completely protect children from knowing anything at all about the incident. And has a graphic of Baby Elmo.
Oh my gosh, Baby Elmo is so
Baby
cute.
Elmo.
I forgot this character's name.
I don't know that character either.
There's no babies in my life, so I'm lying. There is a baby, and he does love Sesame Street, so.
I was like, there's a baby called Baby in your life.
Yeah, and thank goodness he doesn't know that I don't know Elmo yet. Okay. I think that's so interesting, but when you hear it, like when you first hear it, just face value, you're like, what? But then you take in consideration the ages, 0 to 3, they're babies.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. I have a 3-year-old, and like she's getting to the point where I feel like she might be able to understand some of the things, but it would honestly just scare her. They have no concrete thinking, and so I wouldn't be able, we'll get into it a little bit in mine, but like I wouldn't be able to give her the reassurances that she deserves at that age. And so I really appreciate that they're like, just keep them away from it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I'm even thinking like talking about Baby, who is a baby in my life. That's his nickname for me. He is a year old. If I were to tell him anything, he's like, eh? Like, like drool right past. Yeah, like drool coming out in his mouth. Like, what are you talking about? Mm-hmm. Like, all he cares about is running around and just having fun, watching Elmo. Right. And all he cares about really is Elmo and Cookie Monster. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And then also, I think it's another show, but like Sid. He loves, dang, I'm blanking on it right now. Not Paw Patrol. No, he just loves dogs. He'll be like, wow, wow. And I'm like, dude doesn't know what's going on if I were to bring it up to him, yeah. But yeah, like surface level, shield them. I'm like, what? But then you take into consideration age. Mm-hmm. That's really important.
I think it's different for everybody because like for my nephew, he's 3. He talks very, very well for his age.
He threw me off. I was like, whoa, you're talking kind of like full sentences a little bit.
Yes. And so, I mean, I feel like it would stick with him for a moment, but then it'll be like, pooch. Next day it'll be gone.
What?
He'll be like, huh? What'd you say, woo-woo? That's my nickname for him.
That's so cute.
Whereas Frankie would be like, Mama talked about the bad guys. Mama also talked about how the bad guys can't get to me, but all she's going to remember is Mama talked about the bad guys. And she has nightmares where she like wakes up screaming. So no, Ruth knew a little bit more about things than Frankie does, but like it really is, every kid is so different.
Yeah. I guess you have to take that into consideration too, of like maybe a 3-year-old could take it in, but depending on their personality, you probably want to shield them as much as possible from it.
And I'm so glad y'all have little ones to kind of compare y'all's experience, because literally I don't know a lot of kids like that.
I mean, it's one of those things where you don't know until you know.
Yeah.
Like, child development is so wild and so much happens in such a short amount of time. And like a 2-year-old is so different from a 3-year-old, but they're so close in age. And so like, it's one of those things that the average person doesn't have the brain capacity to remember. Like if you're a parent or a teacher or you work with kids every day, then you know about it. But other than that, like, it's just so much.
No, yeah. And I remember when Ariana brought in her nephew, I think he was 1 at the time. I think so. I literally had told our past supervisor, I was like, she's gonna bring him in like a baby carrier. Like in my head, genuinely, I was like, he's coming straight from the hospital. Like
Newborn.
Literally like a newborn in my head. And I just really had no concept of what a 1-year-old talks like, acts like, looks like, or anything, because the youngest kid in my family is just turned 15. So
it's wild. There's always this thing I think of. So one of my friends, she had her oldest 2 or 3 years older than Ruth. And then she had her second a few months after Ruth, or like 6 months after Ruth. And so Ruth was 6 months, crawling, doing her thing, and then her newborn was a newborn. But because of the vast difference between a newborn and a 6-month-old, Ruth actually played more with the older kid. Even though they are so much further apart in age.
Yeah, like years.
But you change so much in infancy that she had nothing in common with this newborn blob.
She was like, you're new to the,
you know?
to the world.
So I have a photo of the two of them like side by side, and it's like, it's so cute to really see like how much they change. And then 4 to 5.
Yeah, okay. Okay, that was 0 to 3. You have 4 to 5. Yes, please go ahead.
So this is for ages 4 to 5, and it says, children may be concerned about your safety or being separated. Explain all the ways grown-ups can keep them safe. If they're afraid of an event that happened far away, use the distance to reassure them.
That's good.
Can you read the last one again? I'm sorry.
If they're afraid of an event that happened far away, use the distance to reassure them.
Yeah, because I'm thinking like, talking about separation, something that my family had to talk to me a lot, which is a little touchy subject, forgive me, but was like immigration. My mom, my folks are undocumented, and she'd be like, okay, like if something happens and they send me back, like I knew the plan. Like, oh, you're going to go to your aunt's house and blah, blah, blah. But it was about that age that she started talking to me about it. So, I mean, I would get nervous, like, when the talk of the town was like, oh, my gosh, like, they're doing raids when I was younger. But it's like I knew the plan. I knew who I was going to go to and things of that sort. It made me feel secure. Where I had other friends who had similar situations, I don't know if they had a plan or if their family talked about it in that way, but their family did unfortunately get deported at one point, or her dad did, and it was kind of like, oh my gosh, what now? And so, no, it just started making me think of that because you were talking about the separation part, but I mean, it was sad, but I was like, I'm a kid, like, my mom just told me some really sad stuff. I'm going to go play with my Play-Doh or something, or my brats. But it was like when moments came of maybe I'm like, oh, like law enforcement is here, or like we're going to a place that has a lot of law enforcement. I was like, okay, I know the possibilities that may happen if, you know, blah, blah, blah. But I did feel more secure with my mom. And I was happy that she would talk to me about that type of stuff and I could ask questions, which I think also helped me feel more secure and also like the distance stuff as well. But
Yeah, I think it's important that as soon as the kids can have an understanding that they can pick up from the wider world, it's important to talk about these things with them. So for example, homelessness. So Ruth would see, people on the side of the road, and then Adrian would often go and get them food or give them money or a water bottle, and then Ruth was obviously really curious. And so rather than just saying, oh, this is, someone who is unhoused, Adrian or I would like explain the situation a little bit, like give her a like 5-year-old explanation of like homelessness and the systems that cause it and everything, so she can have like a better understanding. Because I feel like once they're aware and can handle the information, it's our job as parents and other people in children's lives to make them aware of situations. Yeah. I think it makes me think a lot how we always talk about how, this is going to get into race a little bit, but about how white children have the privilege of being shielded from so many things in the world, and yet so many black and brown kids have to be aware of the realities of life so much sooner, because it can deeply impact them. Yeah. But I think there are ways that all of us can incorporate these lessons into how we talk with our kids and everything. Because I don't think it's fair that some kids have to have these really tough conversations at a certain age for their safety, like you, having to have these like really hard conversations about deportation. I never had to have these conversations, but I wish that I had still had someone to teach me about the systems and the injustices and like what's going on in the world in a kid way, obviously.
Yes,
I just wish I'd had that.
And I think that's the thing, and it kind of gives a sneak peek into my relationship goal later. But all these conversations can happen. The language just looks different. And that's where, and I feel like Sesame Street's caption did talk about violent events on the news or in their communities. And I feel like during this time, there was unfortunately, like a lot of immigration rates going on in this time. But I feel like overall, the way that they titled the graphics is offering support in scary times. So I think it goes beyond just kind of ICE raids and stuff. It could look like, because it could be, I remember the first time I saw somebody who was homeless. I was on my way back from my aunt's house in Mejia, and do y'all remember, or have y'all ever seen like where the old Dos Mundos like big potato shop was in the South, kind of behind the Franklin Stripes, kind of in that area? Okay. It's okay if not, but we were kind of turning on there, and it was like, I think my dad was driving, my mom was in the front seat, I had some aunts with me in the back, and kind of like the lights had shined on somebody that was sitting on the side of that building, and it was like super late. It was like super late, like midnight, 1, and my mom was like, oh my gosh, she's so young to be out here, and all these things, and I was like, what do you mean? Why is she outside? Like, I genuinely was like, every time I passed by the old Dos Mundos shop, I don't think it was Dos Mundos at the time, but I always think about like, it brought a lot of fear in my heart, and it was a scary time for me, because I was like, wait, why are young people on the street? I think I was like probably like maybe 4 or 5, and it felt scary, even though like visually there was no violent stuff going on. It just felt really scary, because even knowing new information can be scary depending on how a kid can process it, type of situation. Because like I said, like, we don't know I don't even remember what the girl was doing. It happened so quick. We were going past the thing, the lights shined on her really quick. My mom was just like, oh my gosh, she's really young. I didn't know young kids could be like out here homeless like that. And I was like, I've never heard these words together. What does this mean? And things of that sort. So I was just kind of picking up on, it doesn't always have to be violent to be scary when we talk about this stuff. But this was talking about like after a violent event and things of the sort. But these conversations can happen during moments like that where it's not necessarily violent.
think about it.
I was gonna say
It is violent.
if you, I know me and Meryl were gonna be like, well, if we really think about it, it is violent. Let me not get. I know. Myself out. But that's why I was like, when you look at it, it wasn't necessarily violent.
Yeah.
But yeah. It can be a lot for a kid. It's like their first time seeing things like that.
I mean, even natural disasters.
Oh my gosh.
You know?
Yeah.
So scary. Like, I was terrified of tornadoes as a kid.
Yeah.
Does not help that in daycare,
Oh gosh.
I was allowed, the whole group, we watched Twisters. 4 years old.
I'm literally like, oh my gosh.
Twisters. So yeah. So I became obsessed with tornadoes and also really terrified of them, but also like I wanted to be a storm chaser. But yeah, that's some things little kids just, if you can shield them from it, there's no need. Like why a Twister movie? So silly.
Yeah, but that makes me think of like drills in school.
They're terrifying.
Like they're preparing you for the worst, but like you don't.
You're like,
You don't
every
think about
month.
it that
Yes.
We gotta do it every month.
Yeah.
When there's like maybe a tornado warning.
Yeah.
Like twice a year. I'm like, every month, golly.
Well, and the active shooter drills.
I was gonna say, yeah, that has really changed too.
Ruth and Frankie have to do it, but they like call it something different. They just call it like a shutdown drill or something like that. And at this age, they don't talk about the gun violence.
Yeah. Some schools call it like threat drills or active threat.
Yeah, and
threat,
I was gonna say, because I think about it, I have been in multiple like shutdowns like that. My first one I think was in 5th grade. There was just like an active like police chase near the school, and so we shut it down. There was no like active shooter or anything like that, but we shut it down. And I remember I was like, whoa, what is this? But we had practiced it, you know. Never thought we'd use it. You know, I'm a little kid. I'm like, woo, recess is next.
Right.
But even then, like, it's like a core memory, but I don't carry it like that. But yeah, not all of it is always an active shooter. So yeah, like language also matters in that too.
Yeah.
I don't know. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
My alma mater also uses the shutdown method, but like they have had incidents where like there's been somebody on campus or somebody has made a call up there and made a threat. And I think I like the way they carry out the shutdown method because they make it seem like as nothing is really happening. Like they don't really know about it. They just know it's a shutdown going on. Like, but they do have like escorts that kind of like navigate them through
I was gonna say
from class to class, because before like the rebuild of my high school, it used to be a section where it was outdoors. Like you had to go outdoors to get to the lunchroom. Now that has been completely like blocked off now, so they don't have to worry about it as much.
Yeah.
But even when I was in high school, it was like I knew there was a shutdown going on, but I didn't really know like what for.
It also makes me think like at my elementary school, because we also there'd be so often where we would just be outside like all the time. And I remember like our elementary school, we were in a barrack. That's what we called them, like the outside classrooms. But like our playground, we'd have to cross a street. It wasn't a busy street at all, but like we kind of have to cross a street to another block to go to our playground. But now everything has fences. And like I'm even wondering like what type of conversation they had to have of like, why are the fences going up? You know, because back then like there was literally no fences. And I remember like even in the front, our classroom was in the front of the school, and there was a door that would open up to the front of the school and like, okay, bye, like open up to the yard. And when we'd get dismissed, we'd just open that door and whoo. But I'm like even thinking like that's probably like a safety concern now, which, yeah, just what that probably looked like for students during those changes.
Yeah.
Because that's also a conversation of scary times.
It's like I wonder how much that's impacting kids, like all this extra heightened security and heightened like worry and all the metal detectors and extra police on campus, and they can't go ride their bikes anymore, even though statistically it's a safer world than it ever has been. I really wonder like how it must be deeply impacting kids.
Well,
have to be so heightened all the time.
I was thinking about that, not even as a kid, as an adult, because I think about how I get nervous to go knock on my neighbor's door. Yeah, because I'm like, sometimes her dogs get out, and I'm like, girlfriend, I gotta go knock on that door, you know? Or sometimes something that happens a lot is we'll get somebody else's mail, and I'm like, I'll tell my husband, like, hey, go take it down the street. And there was one time where I was like, it was a Chewy package. I'm like, it's obviously for their dog. Like, maybe it's food. I was like, Jeremiah, go take it right now. And like, blah, blah. He's like, it's super late. And I'm like, dang. I'm like over here thinking about the dog needs to eat. And he's thinking, what if I knock and they get scared and automatically like pull out whatever defense is.
Yeah.
I just think about that too, of those heightened fears. Truly, it does mess with our ability to connect with one another.
Well, and speaking of you being afraid to go knock on people's doors, I don't know if it's other generational things, but it's like a millennial thing that we talk about a lot, where we were all raised with, do not open the door for anybody, but we were left at home quite often.
Yeah.
And so we are scared of anyone coming at our door. I remember in college, me and my roommate, someone knocked on our door. We both peeked our heads around, out of our rooms, and we're like, what's going on? We like get down on the ground and like crawl to the door and like peep out the peephole, and we're like, I don't know who it is. We're just being so weird, but it's like we were taught to be so wary of people coming to the door. It makes sense that we still have those like anxieties.
Yeah.
But it's crazy how it's like, it really is so important how we talk to kids. And but we're all gonna mess it up at some point.
Oh yeah,
We're
like
humans.
it's not gonna be perfect, but I feel like, man, like those conversations just need to happen, just age appropriate. And I think also, like, I even think about this, like, because talking about that heightened fear, I even think about it with me and my husband. Like one time we were in Austin, we wanted to go to 2 different stores and we did not want to go with each other. And I was like, okay, just drop me off here and then you can go over there. He was like, no, what if something happens? And I'm like, dude, I come here all the time and you're only 12 minutes away. Like, I've come here all the time by myself. You're not even, because this is an out-of-town store. And I was like, I come here all the time, even alone. I'll be fine. Nothing's ever happened. And that's not to say, like, nothing will ever happen, because I think, given our reality, I have given up that absolute, like, mindset. But I feel like the risk is low.
Yes.
And I was like, Jeremiah, go look for shoes and I'm gonna thrift. And it was really like I had to kind of convince him, but it was like the fear of like, oh my gosh, but we're in a different town. We have 1 car. Yeah, you're 12 minutes away, but so much can happen in 12 minutes. But it just really impacts like day to day. And I only think like kids are getting that young, like their brains are literally still developing, and they're learning how to trust their communities and things of that sort. And so there will be studies in the future, hopefully. And I'm not excited, but I feel like it's important that we also know.
Well, and I wonder, sorry, I know we haven't gotten to the 6-year-old one yet.
You're good.
But like, I wonder how it's impacted kids, all this stranger danger, when the vast majority of crimes that happen to kids are done by family members. But now they're taught to be so wary and scared of strangers. And I just think about that, like how we instill purposefully fear in our kids, but it's often misplaced fear. It's not even the type of fear that would eventually protect them. So yeah, there's just a lot of things we're doing as a society that...
Yeah, and I feel like, I mean, we see it in our realm of work when we're talking about sexual violence, that, like it's a stranger in the alley and all these things, but that is, don't get me wrong, it happens.
Yes.
But it is like a very small percentage. A lot of it is people that we know, friends, roommates, even partners and
family members.
Yeah, like, it's interesting to see kind of. And I think like the big foundational part of it is messaging, which is why I think this is so important. This in itself is like kid friendly. Well, it makes me think, where was I? I was at an event, and I think he was, I don't remember how old he was. He had to be like 3 or 4 or something. And he pulled out, it was with the fortune cookies, and it was a funny one. And I was like, read it to us. And he was like, I don't know how to read. And I was like, dang, I really don't know. So kids may not be able to read this, but you can just tell I'm not around kids a lot. I don't know what.
2-year-old, can you read that for me?
I'm literally like, whoopsie daisies. Y'all don't come out the womb. No, I'm just kidding. I'm like, I don't know. I need to, I guess, hang out with my friends' kids. Because I'll literally be like, he's like 3. Can he read yet? No, I don't know. But, okay, I'm so sorry. Yes, your graphic is the very last one.
Yes, so ages 6 and up, and it says to start with open-ended questions to see what they know, and ask if they want to talk. Listen carefully and assure them that these feelings are normal, and adults feel them too. Yeah. But, yeah, I love, like, the open-ended questions, because it's like, you're not just going to get a yes or a no, like, you get to
And they're so curious.
Yes, like, you get to see everything that they're thinking and feeling, and then, of course, like, validating their feelings is top priority, and that it's normal to feel it.
It makes me even think, like, again, it's kind of a peek into my relationship goal, but I think even open-ended questions, like, kids, when they're at school, they're around so many people and we don't have the profiles for each of their friends type of thing. And I'm thinking about one of my friends, little one, she recently, I keep bringing up deportation. It's just like obviously such a big thing in my community. But my friend just found out that his daughter's dad recently got deported. And I'm even thinking, I'm like, did my friend know that? Or like, did his little one tell him? And like, how did that come? I haven't talked with him about it, but he had posted about it and how it was weighing heavy on him. But I'm like, it's happening in their schools with their friends.
Yeah.
And it's not just about deportation or like violent crimes and things like that, but just anything. If a safe adult is not there to kind of maybe guide the conversation or even give them some answers or whatnot, or even explore their thoughts and questions with them, like they're just kind of left up to their own devices.
Yeah.
And, some kids be on Roblox and Roblox be a little wild,
Yes.
So I'm like, they don't need to get, not saying that kids and their peers are not smart, but maybe they don't have the right resources and whatnot. But to have like a safe adult be able to kind of guide that and give them trusted resources and have these conversations. But I also, when I was looking at these graphics, Meryl, I was also thinking, because you have a 3-year-old and then Ruth is 6. And so I was like, I want to hear Meryl's, because that's like, well, one, they're 3 years apart. And that in itself, like you talking about the age difference, how Ruth would handle things like that.
Things like what exactly?
Like conversations, like with open-ended questions.
Yeah.
And
Sorry, I thought you meant maybe a particular topic.
No.
So the way, like, I was definitely thinking about it, like, as she was reading that, and honestly, I kind of wish that they, one, had broken up, like, 6 to 8, and then, like, 9 plus, because I feel like there's so many different things, and I kind of wish that they had, because there's more explaining that is done when someone is 6. It's not just open-ended questions to, like, figure out their emotions and how they're feeling and, like, what they're thinking of the situation. At this point, it also is teaching. Yeah. Like, it's teaching them about the history.
What grade is like
Kindergarten.
First grade.
First
Oh my
grade.
gosh.
And Ruth is young.
I literally was like, they're almost in middle school. No, I'm just kidding, not in middle school. But I was like, I have no perception
No,
of
I
age.
know. But, like, they're learning about all this stuff, and I don't want to just know what she thinks about it. Like, I also want to make sure that she has the correct information.
Yeah.
Because it's also true that a lot of these kids are being raised by parents who aren't knowledgeable on how to talk to kids. Like, Ruth is in a first, second, and third grade class, and the stuff she hears that's being said from social media, I'm like, why do they even know this stuff?
I didn't even think about that. Like, I was in my school was structured that way where it's like, I don't remember how elementary was because I didn't go to elementary there, but like intermediate or what is it, I don't know, junior high? I don't remember, but
One of them.
Yeah. But it was like fourth, fifth, and sixth graders together. Mm-hmm. That was wild. I was like, when I was in fourth grade hanging out with sixth graders, I was like, are you like my elder? I was like, what the heck?
But that's how it's supposed to be. They're supposed to function as your elder.
Right.
And I really was like,
Yeah.
I'm like, this is my older cousin, it felt like. Mm-hmm. And then it was like 7,
8, 9.
It was, well, am I lying?
Well, 7 and 8, like, because La Vegas is a perfect example of how, like,
8,
they break theirs up. Like, is pre-K is one school. It's like their primary, and then it's kindergarten.
She went to a Montessori, though, so it was like in the same classroom, right?
Yeah, we were in the same.
4, 5, and 6, like in the same classroom.
It was really wild.
That's how it is at Waco Montessori, too.
Yeah.
It's like a Montessori thing.
Not like per class.
That is very different.
That's why I was like, I'm hanging out with this sixth grader. I'm in fourth grade. I'm like, are you my aunt? Like, are you like my older cousin? Like, it really was, you could tell that there was such a big age difference.
And what they expose to the younger kids, it's really important for parents to feel like they are capable to further explain, delve into the topics, really like get into it, because a lot of the times it's just a fact the parents don't know what they're talking about, and the kids come. Man, when I worked at a Montessori, we had some falling out over some students, like in like 3, 4, and 5-year-olds because of the way their parents voted.
Golly.
During like the 2016 election.
3, 4,
Yes,
and 5-year-olds.
3, 4, and
That's a
5-year-olds
lot of
coming to
stress.
school fighting about. Then it was Trump and Clinton, and they were butting heads. And I was like, "Why do you know about this? Why do you know so much that you're butting heads with your bestie?"
What grade is that? What grade?
It was kindergartners.
Oh yeah, I was not worried about that in kindergarten.
Worry
Kindergartners.
about what I'm finna color for the day.
And I'm like, I don't want.
And
I'm
what
like-
the snacks
What party
are.
am I gonna play with?
Because then at that point, if my kid comes home and is talking some stuff, I'm gonna maybe correct some stuff if I need to.
Yeah.
So I feel like I really wish that they had kind of like put a little bit more into that as well, that it also does take the parents having to educate themselves to be able to educate their children. I wish that they had kind of like touched on that a little bit, because we also do have to take our part in teaching our kids.
I love that. Yeah. No,
I love Sesame Street. No hate to Sesame Street.
No hate to Sesame Street ever, because they're doing more than a lot of places.
I love Sesame Street.
No, and I was so grateful. I actually found out about these graphics through another Instagram, and I was like, wait, this is so important. And I feel like I felt like it was really relevant to our work because we focus so much on violent crimes, and we serve youngsters. And that just breaks my heart every time I say that. We have little ones come in for therapy and for services. And yeah, I'm like, that's just so heavy. And so we know the reality of kids need to have these hard conversations.
Yep.
And parents do need to do the education part of it and take that responsibility of teaching their children about it. But yeah, I just saw this and I was like, this would be so beautiful to cover. And so often in our work, it's like, but why are y'all talking to kids about that, blah, blah, blah. But it's like, kids do deserve to have like the information in an age-appropriate manner. Like that is the big emphasis, age-appropriate manner.
Because you don't want them to get to where they're the age, like they become adults and they don't know anything.
No,
Like they've been
agreed.
shielded the entire way up until their adult life, and then they don't know anything. If they are asked about something, like, hey, do you know about this? And I'm like,
Yep. Or misinformed.
Yeah.
yeah.
No, yeah. And so I just really wanted to leave off with that. Like, I'm just so happy a resource like this. And then so the graphics are on their Instagram, but I was looking on their website because I thought it was there, like kind of like a guide, like a kit. But they have so many more things that I didn't even get to look through. Like they have little workbooks, coloring sheets, videos. They kind of go they even, like, on their header, on their website, it literally says, like, tough topics. And it talks about a lot of stuff. But yeah, so I just thought I really wanted to talk about it, especially because y'all have little ones in y'all's lives. I don't have no little ones. I don't know about you.
No, little cousins, but that's it.
Yeah, literally, not even little cousins. I just got my best friend's baby.
But really, I saw that it was from this page, and I got so excited because just yesterday on my Instagram, what's the For You page called? I don't know. The For You page?
Yeah.
The feed. And I saw a Sesame Street post about like box braids and cornrows, and it was like so cool. It was so educational. I was like, this is so sick. And so when I saw Sesame Street, I was like, ooh, what's this one?
And I feel like that is like also a conversation that isn't necessarily violent, but it can be nerve-wracking. It can be tough for kids. My husband's youngest sister, she's biracial, and in the class that she was in, she was the only person with her hair texture.
Yep.
And it was a really big thing, and she was like, hey, like, I want to straighten it, I want to do this. And I was like, whoa, you're like really young. Like
know.
Things like that. And I remember the first time, because she's five, about to be 6, but I remember my little sister would also go see me, like I would take her when I would go get my eyebrows done, and one day she was like, can I do it? And I'm young, and I was like, I mean, if you want, it's gonna hurt, you know, like. And the person who does my eyebrows, because I get them threaded, she's like, she's too young, I don't even feel comfortable. I was like, thank you for your honesty. But it's like having those conversations, because that was like her image and how she sees herself and her eyebrows. But yeah, and then having that conversation about hair with my little sister-in-law. She's 5. She's so cute. I love her. But yeah, just having age-appropriate conversations, like kids are so deserving of that.
I also think it's really important for kids who don't have that hair texture to know about it, so that they can stand up for their friends, or so that, you know, they can be aware and not make comments or make comments, but, you know, like nice comments, but mostly just to, you know, to make them aware and everything.
It's really just a collective responsibility to have a safe space.
Yeah.
And it is on all of us. And I think, like, I was talking about, like, you have children, you have a nephew, I have my best friend's baby. But it's like we all have different relationships with the kids in our lives. It impacts us directly, indirectly, but we all play a role in it. So, yeah. Man, what a beautiful conversation. Really heavy. And, man, I just really have a lot of hope in the youth. And
I just love kids.
Yeah, I genuinely just love our youth, and I just feel like they need to be supported more.
I mean,
and sooner.
They are
our future.
And they're such a marginalized and oppressed group, and we really do, as a whole, just need to focus more as a collective on taking care of our young ones.
Yeah.
And that is even more prevalent now.
Yeah, no.
Or in the news now, so.
I agree. Any final thoughts before we go to our relationship goal? Okie dokie. So I have the relationship goal today, and my relationship goal, and I maybe could have worded this different, but it was just like what was on my mind of not shielding kids from reality. I think that has just been the theme throughout all of our conversation is, of course, like ages 0 to 3, they're not going to know. We already talked about that. But and also kind of what you said, like based on the child's personality, have those conversations with them it's not cookie cutter, like you could read this guide, but you're going to have to do the work of knowing that young one. Say it.
I was going to say, can I provide an example?
Yes, please.
So one really difficult thing with Ruth was she has a lot of so Ruth is my 6-year-old. She has a lot of sensory issues. So she's always loved just being completely unclothed at home. No clothes. Well, she's 6 now. And so we've had to have the hard conversations of, you know, you're growing up. We're going to have to, like, you know, start making sure that we're more dressed around the house. But she doesn't understand. Like, she doesn't understand that it can be perceived as wrong. but it's the reality we live in, and we have to protect her and ourselves. So having those tough conversations, even if you think it's, I don't care, like, it doesn't bother me.
It's home.
It's my home. But if someone were to hear about it or know about it, and then they can say something, it's just, and so I can't remember exactly what you had said, but we also have to raise them in the world that we're raising them in. And sometimes that can look like doing things that you don't want to do. And it is really hard, but it's for the best intention, even if the kid is like upset for a little bit.
Yeah. I remember, and I always bring this up with her, so it's not like a main thing, but my sister also struggled to leave her pacifier. She was in elementary school, and she would not take it to school because she understood, but then we'd pick her up, she's like, where's my pacifier? And I'm like, you gotta let it go, like, genuinely. But that was, and I feel like for her it was scary because that was what, it was comforting her. And she was like, wow, like, I really have to get rid of this comfort. And that was nerve-wracking for her. And so even though it wasn't, like, perceived scary to me, I'm like, girl, let it go.
Yeah.
It was nerve-wracking for her, and it was really, really hard. Love her so much. Dang, I forgot that my sister's my youth, low-key. She's 18, she's 19, but she's always gonna be my little baby. No, but yeah, that was going to be my relationship goal of not shielding kids from reality. And part of the reality is the world that we live in. And I think having those conversations can be like finding accommodations for ourselves and things of that sort. Because, yeah, sensory issues can be a really big deal for some folks. How can we make someone feel comfortable while also?
And we decided on just underwear. So
see, there you go.
Where's underwear? You know?
Yeah.
So if the window's open, you know, I don't have to worry about her flashing somebody.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And then Kyah has our recommendation.
Yes, our recommendation for today is, even though we live in a violent world, just to live, laugh, love.
Literally live, laugh, love.
Yeah,
don't forget it.
Don't be afraid to live, and don't let it hinder you from, like, experiencing life.
I think it goes back to how we were talking about that heightened fear, like really evaluating, like, whose fear am I carrying? That is something I've had to say.
Oh, don't even get me started on that.
Yeah,
That's
I was like, that's a whole nother episode. Is this fear mine?
I carry so much fear that's not mine that I'm unlearning, and it's really hard.
No, it is so hard, especially because it kept somebody else safe. And you're like, if it kept them safe, what if it's going to keep me safe?
Well, a lot of it is also moms get very paranoid. Yeah. And so sometimes they will be a little bit overbearing with their safety, and then it can permanently scar a child to where they are like, you know, it's fine. We all do our best.
Yes. We all do our best. But yes, that is everything, y'all. Thank y'all for sticking with us for this episode. If you are wanting to follow us, you can follow us at Advocacy Waco on Facebook and Instagram. And if you are looking for more prevention-specific episodes, you can follow us at ACCVC_prevention on Instagram and on TikTok. But that is everything. Y'all have a good one.
Bye.
Bye. Oh.
Thanks so much for tuning in to Real-ationship Goals. This episode was produced by the Prevention and Education Department of the Advocacy Center for Crime Victims and Children in Waco, Texas. Interested in more content from P&E or the Advocacy Center? You can follow us on Instagram at ACCVC_prevention or on Instagram and Facebook at Advocacy Waco. Be sure to like this episode and follow us wherever you get your podcasts. See you next time. Bye.